I've seen the future.
Hey everybody, it's Colette Baron-Reid, and welcome again this week to this week's Oracle card guidance and lesson. And we're using wisdom of the Oracle again to tell a story, and that's what Oracle cards are for. They're storytellers. They tell us about our story in motion. They reflect the truth about where we're at. They remind us about things that we might be in denial about, and they give us a navigational map, if you will, to show us where we've been, where we are now, and where we're heading. And so this is a big week. Now, you can't make this up. It's just so fascinating. We all know that recently, there's been, especially in the United States, there's been a lot, and in Canada too, actually, there's been fires, there have been big hurricanes. We've seen what's happened in the Caribbean, all over the world, if you actually just look, Mexico. So we know that in the past couple of weeks, the earth has been, doing stuff. So the first card of this week makes sense. It's chaos and conflict. So the anchor of this week is how we handle chaos and conflict. Now, what kind of chaos and conflict is this? So the fates is what's beside it. So I want to talk about this in terms of when in our lives something happens that is not directly related to something that you've done. So for example, if there's chaos and conflict, it isn't created by you or by an old pattern necessarily in your specific past individually, but sometimes all of us, we live through two pillars of awareness. One, I co-create my own reality with spirit, and two, I have to surrender to life on life's terms. And so what this is talking about is the way we actually handle life on life's terms and the opportunities that we have for growth and connection and community and compassion and kindness and awareness all comes from the chaos and the conflict, because this card is represented as a growth card. So it represents what happens to us when things are stirred up and then opportunities come from that for what? So what are the opportunities? The cards are, what are they telling us? What's the story? So the next two cards are Imagine and Milk and Honey. So if you put these four together in the storytelling, you have Imagine, which says the right use of mind. So we talk about, as a man thinketh, so shall he be. That's that James Allen book, that very famous book. We can look at A New Thought that talks about the mind is everything that we think, feel, and believe eventually shows up for us reflected in the outer world. So although the outer conditions in some of our lives may show up unexpectedly, and it doesn't always have to be bad. Sometimes you might win the lottery and that would still make sense for the chaos and conflict and the fate card. But whatever happens to stir your life up, whether it be good or difficult, like things that seem fated, then you have an opportunity to do something with that. And these next two cards are fantastic because they say the right use of imagination. So we want to stay away from the doom and gloom, like how all this means it's all bad. Like somebody said the other day that the apocalypse is here. It's not here. If you actually sit down and look at history and seeing all the different things that have happened, it's just the fact that we have news and we see things all over the world at the same time, but we've had cyclical experiences before. And yes, global warming, for example, should be something on our minds. But the point is that what do we do individually, right? So we look at this big picture story and what do we do? What's in our highest good? What can we contribute? What is our purpose right now in all of this, and what can we co-create? So with imagination and milk and honey, it means that in seeming difficulties, there's a humongous silver lining. So that even in these really, if we look at the real extreme things, let's say like the hurricanes, like the earthquakes, etc., the fires, it's an opportunity for people to come together in a sense of community like never before. So it's like people they have the opportunity to drop their bias, drop your negative bias, drop your concept of separation, and come together as a unit, as a community, where the idea of unity and the word we is way more important than I and me and being separate from others. So that's really something to think about, even if the chaos in your life is small, right? And you're not in those difficult places. But but remember that there's anything that gets stirred up is for our highest good, even if it doesn't look like that right away. And that's what's really key here, that we're being invited into something beautiful and bigger and amazing and miraculous, in spite of what something temporarily appears. Now, let's take a look at the Good Tarot as an affirmation for the week. So I chose a card. I actually got my husband to pick the cards. So we shuffle the cards. I say, okay, so let's tune in. What's the highest good for anybody watching this video? What's the story? And what could we affirm this week so that we could have the most productive, meaningful, miraculous week possible, given whatever circumstances that we find ourselves in? May feel like faded or whatever. And how do we deal with change this week in the best way possible, given that right use of imagination, and trusting in the milk and honey, trusting that our needs will be met and that our actions should be in alignment with that faith and trust, and that we're having an opportunity to share that with others, right? So if you can help somebody else, that's really going to be a way to ensure the milk and honey. So it's called Call, Purpose and True Prosperity, and it's so powerful for this week. I have everything I need right now to move forward with purpose. I'm being called into a deeper and more authentic relationship with myself, with my higher power, and with others, right? Myself, my higher power. This is all about a deeper relationship, more authentic. I am here for a reason. I'm required to step forward into my true self, expressing that through my actions. Like whatever we do is a result of how we think and feel, and that's going to make a difference in the world. I need to trust that my life has a purpose, that I am enough, and that within me is a divine blueprint that has meaning for myself and others. So this is a week to look for meaning in your life. Look for meaning in the experiences that you're having. Where can you contribute to others? Where can you be there for other people, not just yourself? That's part of connecting to purpose. Purpose finds us when we move our small self out of the way, and we're not just worrying about us and our little tiny world, that we're reaching out to our fellows, to the world around us, to animals, to people, to nature, to whatever, and know that when our hand reaches out, when we are living like this, tenfold returns to us. All right, guys, see you next week. Let me know what cards you picked, put them in the comments section, and then go back and see how that story actually fit with your experience. And I love to read those comments. Take care. And if you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to leave a comment. Go to my website, pick your 3 cards for the week, and see how your story fits into the story of all of us. And you will be surprised, I promise you.
I've seen the future. It's beautiful.